let's talk a little bit about some limiting beliefs and the mindset aspect, because if you're going to go do this and you've got some doubts and you're worried about what people are going to think or what people are going to make of your music, then I want you to put all of that away. I want you to sit down and focus on improving your mindset. So the first thing is, I want you to write down, like just take a moment, go have a cup of tea, by yourself, and write down all the negative thoughts or negative beliefs that you have about your music, about your ability to promote your music, or about finding an audience or whatever, and just write them down. Okay, so it might be like, I'm too fat, I'm too old, I'm not good enough, no one's going to like my music, etc., etc. I want you to write all of those down. And then I want you to take a minute and write right next to each point the opposite of that point, right? So now you've got a list of positive beliefs, or the opposite of your negative belief. And now you've got a set of affirmations. These are things that you can say to yourself every time a negative thought pops into your head, and you can literally just say the opposite. But you have those to affirm and focus on, and that should be the basis of your mindset. Because if you're not positive about yourself, if you're not positive about your music, well, no one is going to be. So it's really important to have affirmations, those affirmations that really help you to overcome your negative thinking. All right, so now that we've talked about mindset, let's talk about really the concept of finding your audience. One of the things that I want you to really think about is, who is your audience? Who is listening to that style of music? Because that's your potential audience right there. So, it's all about really understanding our own music firstly and going, well, is it a particular genre? Is it a particular style? Is it super unique? Maybe it's got a blend of different things. And it's worthwhile just listening to music and trying to understand, okay, where does this fit in to the world of music? Because right now there's like literally any type of music. There's like circus music, there's music for film, there's music for, rockabilly 50s people. There literally is every type of niche or segment of the world of music listeners that listen to particular types of music. So first of all, spend a bit of time. What is my brand of music? What is the music that I enjoy making? And what does it sound like? Maybe it's completely unique, but does it have certain elements? Like maybe you play blues guitar, so it's got real bluesy sort of smoky tones, or maybe it's like, it's more of a kind of ballad type, acoustic thing that you're doing, or maybe it's, ballads on the piano. So have a think. What other music is there online? What's the sound? What are the mix of elements that really create your music, so that you can start to look at what other people make and what the audiences they have think about them, and also what those audiences follow. And there's so many analytics and tools online and things that you can do to do that research and really try to understand what the flavor of your music is. Because the thinking there is, if you sound a little bit like a mix of this person and this person, well, by rights, if you go to the audiences, the listeners of those people, then likely they're probably going to like your music. So it's a good place to start. Now I can think about how I can better connect with that audience and communicate with them, and they should be able to get that music because they're already kind of in the same room, as you will, and open to listening to similar music. So by rights, they should probably like your music, right? So that's going to help you to start to build an audience, because you can start to go, well, that is my audience, and you can start to really pander to that audience. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be stuck and pigeonholed in that segment for the rest of your life, but one of the things that you want to do is just start. If your goal is to find an audience of people, well, you need to work out where they are, and then you need to try and reach out to them and build a community around that, and that's going to be the start of you building your audience. So once you've kind of determined that, again, you don't worry about pigeonholing yourself. There are so many artists that have reinvented themselves time and time and time again with, to reach out to other audiences and to grow their fan base. Like look at Madonna. Every single decade, she came out with a new look, a new feel, a new vibe, and she reinvented herself many, many, many times. So there's really nothing stopping you from doing that as well once you've got an audience and you want to branch out in other directions. But it's really important to at least pick a side for a particular project. And you can always, like, you can have multiple projects, right? You could have, well, I'm really into blues, so I've got a blues project, and then I'm really into ballad singer-songwriter stuff, so I've got another project. And you can name them, and you can even come up with completely different names for them, and you can rename yourself. Bob Dylan was, Robert Zimmerman, right? He came up with his name, Bob Dylan. So there's really nothing stopping you from having different brands for completely different sounds. And at some point you can then bring them all together if you want to. But really, it's important to think there is an audience for your music, and they may not like the other type of music. So say if you're really into classical and you're also really into blues, well, they're going to be completely different audiences, right? So my recommendation there is to have two completely different brands. One that's your, classical music brand, and one that's your blues brand. Because otherwise you're just going to meld it all together and people are going to get confused, and you're going to find that people may not relate to your music as easily because they can't really find you in terms of where they want to see a specific sound of music, right? So that's all about finding your audience. Now let's talk about community. One of the things that I love about music is the idea of connecting with other people. By building communities, I can share my music with people that I know are going to enjoy my music, and likewise I'm going to hear other artists in that same community, and we're going to have bonds together because we're all in the same kind of bucket of music, right? So, and then you can find so many really cool opportunities by reaching out to other like-minded artists and maybe play a festival, or start to really understand how are they going about promoting their music to their fans, and you can then be part of that movement or that kind of journey. So I really recommend that you do a bit of research to find who are the people that are in your tribe, who are the people that are in your community, because then you can start to relate to them and get with them and start to form bonds, and you can both promote each other to the same audiences, right? Now they try to find like-minded people in terms of audience size. Don't reach out to other artists that play your type of music that have millions and millions and millions of fans, because they're at a whole different level. But on the other hand, if you find people that are also starting out that have the same kind of feel, look, and whatever around your music, well, then of course reach out to them, because you're all on the journey together, and you can really start to grow and build your community. And there's safety in numbers. You can do it together, and from there, think of YouTube as something or social media as a way to create relationships with others. If you're just at home in a room, playing your music, well, that's fine. But you can also connect with people online, and that's what's so cool. And you can share things, and you might share different musical ideas with people and see what they think, and they can share with you. So you can do it completely online. But I'd also recommend go out and play. Go and play at the places they play. You can maybe work out, okay, that person's who's playing in this local venue, and you're in a large town near you. Well, reach out to the venue and maybe see if you can get a gig there as well, and then maybe you can play as well, and then you might even then bump into them. So there's nothing stopping you from getting your music out there and finding your tribe of people. Now there's so much music out there. I'm not saying I get all the music that I hear. There's a lot of music that is not for me, and that's okay. But there's other music that I enjoy, and there's nothing more enjoyable than speaking to people that like the same kind of music that I like, because then we've got something in common. And I've got my group of friends that all like the same sort of thing, and we talk quite regularly about these things. So that finding your tribe will really give you satisfaction and also confidence to grow. But you're not just doing the journey alone, you're doing it with other people. So look, let's summarize. So in terms of getting your music out there is no age limit, okay? So there's nothing stopping you as a 40-year-old dad or a 60-year-old, whatever, getting your music out there. And it's a real shame that if you have a gift or you have some musical ability and you've created a body of work, that you shouldn't be able to share that out to the world. So again, no age limit. Second thing is, don't be discouraged, okay? Get your mindset right. If you're down on yourself and then you're upset that maybe, you know, your music isn't good enough or whatever, and what you'll find is you'll start to get excited about your music rather than being down and maybe putting it off because you don't feel that you're good enough, right? So, you know, that's the thing. Don't be discouraged. Set some positive affirmations. I am good enough. I'm not, you know, whatever. You know, my weight has nothing to do with my musical ability, and people don't care about those things. You know, just get those things out of your mind. Anything that's stopping you from creating and distributing and promoting your music, write it down, flip it, turn it into a positive affirmation. Try and understand what your sound is. Find like-minded audiences and promote to them, because they're the people that are most likely to connect with your type of music. And it's okay to really drill down. You know, you might have a really specific, unique sound that blends surfy music with something else, and there's, you know, nowadays there may be a really small but vibrant clique around that specific type of music, and, you know, go and find them, and then finally get with those artists that are also playing to similar audiences and start to build connections with other people, even if it's just online, but ideally face to face. So hopefully this video has been useful. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. I'm Al Marshall, signing off. Hope you enjoyed it.